What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. So in today's video, we are going to be reviewing Sniper Elite VR, and this game has been a big AAA release that has come out pretty recently now, and has actually some mixed reviews, which we're going to talk about a little bit in this video on why I think that, well, we're going to get into it. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. With that being said, guys, I am doing a giveaway right now. Join my Discord server for a chance to win Jupiter Grade, which is a VR platformer set in a Russian space station where you take on the role of completing challenges and objectives throughout the station. And it's kind of like Spider-Man in VR, but as a Russian cosmonaut, if that makes sense. So if you guys want a chance to win that, head on over to my Discord server, hit the giveaway channel, and hit the emoji for a chance to win. And as of July 17th right now, you have about 2 weeks to win that code for that game. It's for an Oculus code, so keep that in mind if you are playing on Index or something along the lines of that. But guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on into our content section here. Drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's get on into it. Alright guys, so first up, I always like to start with content. What are you actually going to be getting in this game if you decide to purchase it? Now, you can find this game for $29.99 on both the Oculus Store and Steam Store. So, what are you actually getting? Now, this game only has a single-player campaign, which I would have really liked to see a multiplayer add-on to this game, and I think that some sniper-on-sniper action would have been pretty cool in multiplayer, but they were going for a single-player experience, which is fine if done correctly, and I think that this game has actually a pretty decent amount of content for a single-player game. Obviously, I'd like to see more, but with how long it takes to craft VR levels, I'm not going to complain. There's about 10 hours worth of campaign there, and there is some replay value and challenges that you can get to within the game, so there is something there. So you could probably put, if you take your time and really go through and want to perfect it, you could probably get 15, maybe 20 hours out of this game, and there's always that ability to come back and enjoy the thrill of sniping somebody in a World War II setting. There's plenty of guns in this game as well, a lot of different guns you can play around with, but there's really nothing, I would say, super unique about any of the guns. I mean, it's more so just the aesthetic of, hey, I want an STG-44, or hey, I'm going to play around with a trench gun in this level, to switching out to different sniper rifles you have the ability to change with. Now, one thing about all the weapons is that, some of there's a short barrel sniper rifle you get that's kind of like a silenced experimental sniper rifle later in the game. It fires smaller rounds, so it doesn't do as much damage compared to some of the regular sniper rifles. So I liked that little bit of a touch on. And, as far as content goes, the weapons do have somewhat of a different feel, but it's not super, super drastic. You see much more of a difference when it comes to, the submachine guns and the pistols. Those actually change based on recoil and all that different stuff. But the sniper rifles themselves, there's not a ton of, variation in between what's going on. And I actually would have liked to see them add a couple other snipers if, they could have. I know the PTRS, the anti-tank rifle the Russians used. I know it was this game set in the Italy era, and that front of World War II, but still, something like that probably, wouldn't have hurt to throw into this game. But as far as the weapons go, there's a good amount of them there, and you kind of unlock them as you go throughout, and you find them throughout the game. So definitely like that. It definitely added that ability to feel like you're progressing somewhat in the ability to customize your loadouts here. But as far as the campaign levels go, they're varied pretty good with environment. There's definitely a lot of different environments you're going to be into, everything from the coast to the mountains to inland, and it's a good variety of environments, and it never really felt like I was playing, even though some of the maps are actually reused several times, it never really felt like it was getting stale because there was a new approach to every time I played the map, and I definitely enjoyed that in the sense of, again, just giving you a little bit of that sense of replay value there. Now, as far as the single player campaign actually goes, this is an area that could have certainly been handled a little bit better. The story is pretty uncompelling. There's not really a whole lot going on. It doesn't follow the same timeline, which is kind of annoying. It kind of jumps all over the place. Like 1 minute you're playing at, a level in 1943, and then the next level's in 1944, then you go back to 1943, and it kind of jumps around, and it doesn't cut well together and tie itself into itself all that great, and I felt like they could have definitely improved upon this, and, we're really, again, missing that gripping single-player story, and I gotta say, even Medal of Honor story, which was cheesy and not the best story, but it was definitely better than this game's story. The one twist you kind of get in the game, it was a twist, and that's great, but there was absolutely no setup to it, so it didn't have any power to it at all. So definitely thought that could use a little bit of work on the content side of things for sure. Another thing I really enjoyed was actually, believe it or not, the kill cam, and it was not jarring in the slightest bit, which I was kind of impressed by, because I figured by following a bullet and that transition screen, it was going to be a little bit jarring and take you out of the action, and it actually didn't at all, and I thought this was done really well. Now, the default setting, I did feel that it was a little bit too much kill cam. Like, it was almost every single time, like every other enemy I killed was a kill cam. A little bit much for me. I actually reduced that in the settings just because I wanted to get on with the game a little bit and not be broken from immersion too much. But whenever I set it to the second lowest setting, it was just enough where it was like every 5 to 7 kills where I actually did a kill cam. It didn't take me out of the action, and I definitely enjoyed that part of the game as well. And lastly, when it comes to our content, there was one thing I really did not like in this game, and it was just, it didn't actually plague me until the very end of the game, thank God. But maybe I was just getting lucky and was kind of good at some of the challenges, but some of the campaign levels were locked behind star requirements, which means that each level has, like, you can get 1 to 3 stars based on if you complete the level. So for example, if you get 10 explosion kills in a level, that could count as a star if that was one of the level's challenges. And towards the end of the game, the last levels, you had to get maybe like 40 stars to get to that level unlocked. Terrible decision. I hate when games do this, because not everybody wants to do these ridiculous challenges. People want to play their own way, but it wasn't too bad. I was only 1 star off each time, so I only had to go back and replay like 1 or 2 levels and do a pretty easy challenge. So maybe I just got lucky or not, but I really, really did not like this, and I hope that they remove that in the future, because that's just like, if somebody's not playing that way, it really could suck.
Not so fast, sniper! I've got a bullet with your name on it!
The Germans had me surrounded and vastly outnumbered. But when a man fights for their home, their freedom, even against impossible odds, there is always hope. We had more immediate problems.
So as far as the sound design goes in this game, this is a really, really strong suit of Sniper Elite VR. I'm really, really pleased with the gun sounds in this game. They are actually some of the best I've heard in a game. They're loud, just loud enough where it's not ear-splitting, but it does feel like you're actually, using a weapon. On top of that, I really love the drawn-out sound effects of some of the sniper rifles. They just sound so powerful, like you're actually shooting a high-powered rifle. Really liked that. I thought that all the submachine gun and explosion sounds were really serviceable. They did a good job. The environment sounds, overall pretty solid. I can't really complain about the sound design. The soundtrack was, I didn't find anything blaringly wrong with it. I enjoyed it. It kept me immersed in the game. It felt like I was at times sneaking around, and then when I was in combat, it was just enough of what they were expecting. So overall, the sound design in this game, got to give this a big thumbs up. I thought that was definitely a strong suit of this game. Now moving on to our graphics section here. Now, this is interesting because I read through some of the Steam reviews just because that's what I like to do, and people were complaining, saying the graphics really aren't anything to write home about. I have to completely disagree with all of that. And, the reason why I read the Steam ones is because on Quest, obviously, if you're playing on the Quest version of this game, the graphics are going to be downgraded compared to a PC VR game, so there is that to consider. But considering on the PC VR side of things, which is what I have played, throughout this whole game on for the most part, I don't understand how anybody can think the graphics in this game are not fantastic. They are some of the best graphics I've seen in a VR game, and maybe I don't know. I've played a lot of VR games. I've hit almost every single AAA VR title, and this game has stunning graphics. Obviously they're on high for me, so if your machine can't run high, maybe that's it, because I originally started on medium, and they were okay on medium, but when I flipped it to high, I noticed a big difference in this game. Just everything from the shadows to the little details to the environments themselves. There was really no screen door effect, and it was actually some of the most realistic graphics I've ever seen, where to the point where I was looking around, I was like, this almost looks like real life. So the graphics are absolutely amazing, and I think that it's incredible that they got this game to run that smooth on PC and look that good, and also be able to run on Quest. I think it's a big step forward for VR. It's going to allow game devs to do both, which is huge, because there are those of us that are PC VR Master Race people, and we want our graphics to be really high end, and then obviously, at the same degree, we want more VR games, so the ability to have it on Quest is really good. There's no screen door effect here. I thought the shadows were great, explosions, pretty good. Overall, graphics of the kill cam were really amazing. I thought the graphics in this game were A+, absolutely. Can't complain at all. So when it comes to our verdict here about this game, where I want to talk about with this game is just overall, I think the gameplay is pretty fun. It's pretty solid. There's some, actually intense moments, within the gameplay itself that I really liked. I really wish the story would have been stronger. I think that this is a big missed opportunity by Rebellion here, and just by game devs in general. I don't understand why they decided to make this story. It just doesn't make any sense to me why they picked this story where you are an Italian resistance member, fighting off the Germans in Italy. I just thought that there's just so many better stories in World War II, and I know that everybody, sits there, oh, well, I didn't want to do just a classic Western front story or anything like that. And I get it, but it's VR, and everybody's got to keep that in mind, and that we don't really have that yet. Because Medal of Honor, I thought Medal of Honor was a great game. People trashed all over it. Don't understand why. I thought it was a really good game. I really enjoyed my playthrough of that game. But yes, the story wasn't the strongest in that game either. And I don't understand why, and nobody has made a gritty, hardcore World War II, story. And it doesn't have to be rocket science. I mean, we're talking about just make you feel like the hero and put you in the shoes of a soldier that is doing amazing things in World War II and fighting in the big battles. This is an opportunity here where I felt like they could have gone on the Eastern Front of World War II and put you in the shoes of a Soviet sniper going against the Germans, and it would have been fantastic to get into some of the most famous battles on the Eastern Front, which most people that are World War II buffs know about. I don't understand why they chose the Italian theater of war here, and especially they put you in the shoes of kind of an insignificant, faction in World War II, and there's really no allied presence at all. You're kind of, it's a little bit unrealistic when it comes to the story, and I felt like this was just a big missed area of the game. Now, that doesn't take away from the gameplay itself. The gameplay, in my opinion, was a lot of fun, and I really did enjoy the levels in playing through this game. Now, I do have to talk about some of the things that really kind of missed on this game a little bit, and one of the things that I personally probably wouldn't have put in if I was the developer, but the weapons feel a little bit clunky to handle at times, and I think they were trying to add that feeling of having actual weight to your hands, and it just takes you out of it a little bit. It's not the biggest deal. It's not a super, super bad thing, but the weapons do feel a little slow to handle. Your hands are a little bit slow, and I think that probably, takes it away a little bit. Now, there's another thing that they added, and it kind of threw me off a little bit, but the front hand whenever you have it attached to the weapon, if you twist the weapon at all, and you can see this on screen now, and you let go of it, it's stuck in that position, which I thought this was kind of stupid, and it should have just went back to like a default right-handed position if you're a right-handed player. But instead, it stays in that position, which eventually, as you're hitting the bolt and you're reloading your weapon and you're, moving your hands around, eventually the weapon kind of gets a little bit off-centered in general, and then you're like trying to aim down the scope, and it's like, wait a minute, why does this feel like this is super low or super high? And it's because your hands kind of get disoriented. Just a small thing, but it definitely could have gone without it. Now, on top of that, there's a lot of sneaking in this game, and you're kind of supposed to play with some stealth elements, and that's great, and I thought that there were some really well done moments in this game with it, but there's also some moments where the AI is really bad, and you can see it. Definitely not the worst I've ever seen. I've seen some abysmal AI, especially in VR games, and this AI, certainly is not the greatest, but it's also not the worst either. And I just felt like they could have probably reworked some, like when they find a body, they're like, oh, investigating, they found the body, and they're looking over the body, and they're like, oh my god, my comrade's dead right next to me. And then there's just like a couple seconds pass, and then they just go back to doing what they're doing. It's like they should be on high alert then. And I think that was definitely something that they could have added a little bit on. But again, another minor thing. It doesn't really take away from the gameplay of the game at all. And I still really enjoyed my playthrough, even though the story was kind of weak. But and you had some of these clunky game mechanics. But overall, I really did enjoy the game. I thought it was a lot of fun. It at times it was actually pretty challenging, even though the AI was bad, but you die very fast. So if you're just like reckless and you run out in the open, like you're more than likely going to get shot up pretty quick, as long as you're not playing on the story difficulty. I played on challenging because I wanted to have somewhat of a challenge going through the game. And I did feel that it was challenging enough where it kept me engaged, and the levels themselves were intricate enough that it kept me engaged. They were relatively linear, but there was different ways to approach each level, and I really appreciated that, and felt like overall the gameplay was pretty fun. And that brings me to my actual verdict on this game, and I have to say, for $29.99, I can't complain too much. I think that the game offers enough there to give it a buy. Maybe if you're a little bit stingy and you're a little bit skeptical, maybe wait for a sale on this one. But overall, I do think the game is pretty polished, and it ran pretty well for me. I can't have too much to complain other than what I did talk about. I did enjoy my playthrough, had a lot of fun playing it. I think the biggest thing for me was I think that the story and the setting they chose probably could have been different, but overall it was still a fun game, and I would recommend it overall. Well, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you found it informative. Please do let me know in the comment section whether you are going to be picking up Sniper Elite VR. It's overall a pretty solid game, with a couple short drawbacks, but I do think that it's a pretty good one. So with that being said, make sure you guys do drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and head on over to my Discord for a chance to win Jupiter grade, and I will see you guys in the next one.